Yes, people, welcome back to the Daily Report on daonlyahyah. And on today's episode, we have all things Premier League as we're talking about Chelsea's 74 FA charges. We're also going to be talking about Fabrizio Romano's report on a failed transfer of a West Ham player. And not only that, but Manchester United apparently will be playing more games throughout the week. So let's jump into it right away. Chelsea. Now, there are no newcomers to this fines. Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Everton, Manchester United, Reading, just to name a few clubs, has all been fined by the FA. Now also we have seen Manchester City in a case for who knows how long now, only God, that Man City has been in a court case with the FA. Now, I don't know what's going on with the FA. Yes, people, welcome back to the Daily Football Report on daonlyahyah. And on today's episode, we're talking about all things Premier League. We have some news coming out to Chelsea and the 74 FA charges. We're also going to be talking about how did social media impact a failed transfer this summer. And not only that, but we're talking about Manchester United and why they are going to be playing a few midweek games this season. Now, Chelsea, as we've seen, are no newcomers to being fined. This is not the first time Chelsea has been fined or have breached something from the FA. Now, apparently, this has been happening or happened, I stand corrected, during the Roman Abramovich regime. So not during Todd Bowley's, as his team was the ones who reported this. Now the FA is saying, how did this pass them for all these years, both internally and externally to the club? But at the end of the day, it's Chelsea were the ones who breached the FA rules, so they are the ones that have to be charged. Now the problem with this is Chelsea paid transfer fees for players, but then lied about how much they paid agents. They lied about how much they paid intermediaries, technically, which are agents and other agencies that work for clubs or work for the selling club, the buying club, or the player. Because as we know, FIFA has rules that agents cannot work for a player and the selling club, or the selling and the buying club simultaneously. So there are rules that stop agents from working, doing certain transfers. Hence is why we also see some transfers take longer than usual. Now talking about all that, they did that with Eden Hazard, they did that with Willian, Eto'o, and a few players. So it's nothing new that Chelsea did that we're not aware of other teams doing. Just the other day, Reading was charged, I think in 2020, for doing the same thing with Olise's agents. Lying about a transfer and about the approach to Olise, and they were charged like 90k. So it's nothing new that teams breach rules and get charged by the FA, especially when it comes to agent rules. Now, what does this mean for the Premier League? Because this is what we have to understand. If clubs are always going to be able to break the rules and then they are just being fined monetary, like the only charge is monetary, it doesn't really affect these clubs. Because imagine charging $1 billion a man who's a billionaire $50. Bro, that don't affect his pocket. So you charging a club like Chelsea or Man City or United, any of the teams in the Premier League, to be fair, say 10 million, 5 million, 6 million, 3 million. It doesn't really affect them that much. And they're not even getting charged that kind of money. They're getting charged 900,000, 850,000, 750,000. Like, is the FA just trying to get money to pay their employees, or are they actually trying to fine these teams so they don't break rules? Because if a team consistently breaks the rule and you just slap them on the wrist, how does that benefit anyone in the league? It doesn't. It actually forces more teams to break the rules if that's what you're going to do, is just slap them on the wrist. I just don't understand how the FA thinks the best punishment for teams, especially when they're some of the richest teams in the world, to get a slap on the wrist. You have to put down some precedent that stop these teams from breaking rules. Because at the end of the day, we're losing the integrity of the football on the pitch already with VAR. And now we're also losing the integrity of the sport off the pitch when you have big clubs not even following the rules. Now, you see, there are so many rules in place with transfers which affect the way transfers go. Now, when we look at the West Ham situation with Lucas Paquetá and how his transfer failed, that was all social media based. Now, it's so ironic that the guy who posts about transfers every day, who everyone waits for him to post a video to then have reactions off of that information, right? All the platforms that have football, that talk about football, are solely dependent on Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, really and truly, for all the information. All the people like Alex Cooks, Ben Jacobs, you name it, Damish, the whole of Sky Sports, Talk Sport, all of them, they wait on Fabrizio Romano to say something. So he's saying that apparently the Lucas Paquetá's transfer failed because there was some social media journalists who broke the news too early, and West Ham wasn't happy about that. So then they just got out the deal. They were like, "No, we're not happy about that, so F the deal." He's the only guy I know really have that information to break that kind of news before it's even public. So for him to go on an interview with Rebecca Lowe and these people, so it has to be NBC, SN or something of the sort, and he's talking about how a journalist spoiled the move for Lucas Paquetá's move to Tottenham. It's unbelievable to listen to him say that when he is the main cause of that problem. You know, but then also, you talk about that, West Ham needs to realize it's a part of the game now. Just like how they used Fabrizio Romano, right, to get more money for Kudus from Tottenham, which they did, they also now have to feel the pressure that using Fabrizio, that news can be broken out from Fabrizio because other clubs will use him to push certain agendas. Now, this is not something that just happened. Everywhere in the world you go, there are sports journalists that follows leagues. No matter the league, lower tiers, higher tiers. These journalists are used to put certain things out there to cause rhetorics for agenda's sake. They actually do. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. It's something that I have witnessed many times, that clubs I have played for has used the media, small pages, to boost their portfolio and get certain things that they want. So it's nothing new for me to see a club use Fabrizio Romano at a higher scale, because if this is happening in the lower leagues, in the lower tiers, imagine at the highest level what levels of manipulation they can use to get what they want. So it's nothing new. But then West Ham as well, also being petty, because they're banding half and half scarves from the game of them, the London Derby with Tottenham. Now, if you really hate a club so much, how do you sell your best player to that club? You know what I mean? They sold Kudus to that club. They were going to sell Lucas Paquetá to that club. Yet, we are here sitting down with them banding half and half scarves. Now, are they disrespected by the fact that Tottenham did not go about the right measures to get Paquetá and they used Fabrizio to push out the move? So is that one of the reasons why they're banning the scarves? Because I really don't understand why they're banning half and half scarves. There are a lot of people that go to these games that are not solely fans of just that club. So if that person wants to get something of the experience, it shouldn't be a bad thing that you make a half and half. Now, do I agree all the time that it's necessary? It's just a piece of paraphernalia. It's just like, it's material, people. Like, it shouldn't be that serious. You know, I get that football fans is a cult. I get that football fans love their team and support their team. And not only football, fans in general, sporting fans love their teams. But sometimes we have to look at life and realize that some things aren't really that serious. You know, especially when we're living in a time when people are getting assassinated for their point of view. We have to really understand that we're living in a time that a half and half scarf is not that serious, Wessam. I mean, if you're trying to punish Tottenham, I get it for the transfers, but don't sell your player to them and then be upset about a half and half scarf. Like, it's delusional to me. But Manchester United players are upset because apparently they have to play weekday friendlies. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and others at the club, apparently it's been rumoured that weekday friendlies are probably going to be a thing for Manchester United to generate some sort of income. Now, I just don't see this being possible, and I just think Sky Sports spreading rumours because they need their algorithms to fume, so they have to write something about Manchester United, yeah? But let's be honest, people, first of all, let's not talk about injuries because a lot of teams play in-week games, friendlies, with players of this squad that don't play. So it's not something new if United was to find a few friendlies and play them with their players that aren't getting much game time. And especially in the time where United, one, they don't have European football. They're already out of the Carabao Cup because they haven't tried to get that game back apparently. So the fact that all that has happened, I just think that it's nothing new. All teams, I'm telling you, teams that even have games in the Champions League and others, when they have a chance in the midweek, they do play midweek friendlies because, yeah, football is a game of momentum. Players need momentum. And listen, even in lower tiers football, they play midweek game friendlies because it allows them to also get momentum into their players. So when you see these things and you read these things, don't get too hyped because I understand you might be emotional. Oh, we have injury problems, the players might get injured. But also, if the players aren't playing, you can't expect them to have game rhythm against teams who are getting 6, 7, 8, 10 games ahead of them. Yes, fatigue and all these things play a thing, but these guys are top professionals. Their bodies move a lot different. So you have to understand too that there's always pros and cons to each aspect of that industry. So just like, let's take it this way, and I'm going to end with this real quick. When you have a formation and you're on the attack and you're high pressing the team, yeah? When you already high press the team, there are certain things within your system setup that make your team vulnerable. So everything has a pro and con. Everything has pros and cons, no matter what aspect of life we are in. So yes, people, it's been your boy always bringing you great news as usual. Don't forget, please, to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Keep hitting the bell for notifications. So of course, I can keep bringing you great content going forward. It's been your boy, Yahya. Take care. Stay sexy. Don't kill anyone for their opinion. And ciao.